So I love the internet, if that's not obvious by now. And one of the things I like to do while on the net is reading webcomics. Webcomics have become a great new medium, allowing for the creative sort as to let out their creative energies. Essentially, it's a great outlet and it's a potential full-time job. Since the realm of webcomics is so deep and vast, there are plenty of good works to great works out there. And I want to talk about a few that I personally recommend. With that said, the next few episodes during these summer months will be focused on a few of these webcomics. And so let's begin this little mini The Dark Library event that I will call the Summer of Webcomics. With that said, I picked one of the best, or quite possibly one of the worst webcomics to start off with. Sinfest is a long-running work by Tatsuya Ishida. If I pronounce that correctly, I pat myself on the back for that. And it's been going on since the year 2000. That's right, this webcomic is almost 20 years old. There really isn't much of a plot to this, as it's more of a gag-a-day strip with various character plots running around, leading to various conclusions and misadventures here and there. However, thanks to a major shift that happened a few years ago, this kind of completely changed to being more of a character-centered plot narrative. And at a point where we have focal characters for a single plot line, then we move on to the next character's single plot line, so on and so forth. So, this is technically two recommendations for the original webcomic and the new webcomic that it still is the same webcomic, but tonally is completely different. So let's just start with talking about the first half, as I'm going to call it. So the original webcomic was a gag-a-day strip featuring Slick, a self-proclaimed wannabe pimp, Monique, a hippie feminist who's also an attention whore, those are not my words, trust me, and Squiggly, a pot-smoking pig, who's literally a pig, as in he's an anthropomorphic pig, not that he's a pig as in, term of rude person pig, he's literally an anthropomorphic pig. The gag focuses on their daily efforts in this crazy world that they live in, which features the devil, other demons, angels, God, Buddha, a dragon, and various other kinds of craziness. Again, this was a long-going gag-a-day strip that dealt with the occasional black comedy. I mean, Satan's literally running around, so of course you have one Satan joke. And eventually led into some more refined character plots, such as Slick and Monique's relationship, as well as the relationship of side character Crimmy and the demon girl Fuchsia, which was personally speaking one of my favorite little plot lines that I had going on for a while now. However, in late 2011, the comic changed by adding in the Sisterhood. The Sisterhood is a group of girls fighting back against an up until now unseen and not even mentioned Matrix-like brainwashing conspiracy that's called the patriarchy. Yeah, you know where this is going, everybody. Basically speaking, the patriarchy is literally run by the devil. You can't be more subtle than that. And from here on, most of the original cast really makes appearances, but most of the plot is being taken up by the Sisterhood in their efforts against the patriarchy and making the devil seem like a stronger threat. Yes, Slick does occasionally show up again and has his own occasional plot lines, such as dealing with his inner demons, in this case quite literally an inner demon. And Monique has her own current plot line where she's embracing and discovering more feminist ideas and ideals. And, well, Squiggly doesn't show up as much outside of recurring jokes here and there, but when he does show up, it's often just for a gag, as well as his continued efforts to find employment. Overall, if you read the whole thing in full, which would be really impressive considering you're reading about 17 years worth of comic, it can be quite the tone shift, going from a raunchy comedy to more of a message work, and with most of the original cast being pushed to sidelines, with their occasional appearances as I mentioned above. Again, there's a lot of social commentary in the more recent chapters dealing with issues of police violence, sexual conduct, again, feminism and whatnot. So if you're uncomfortable with that, then I just read the first half and then stop when the Sisterhood shows up, because it's going to get a lot more political from there. But another side effect of the change in tone of the book is that it's going for a lot more ongoing character plot lines, while the original gags also do show up every now and then. they're generally out of place when you compare them to the more harsher, more serious tone the book's going for, with its, again, more serious character plot lines, such as the stuff going on with the fembots and the sisterhood. It makes more sense to actually read it. As for, I'm gonna say this is one of the most interesting webcomics I read, because I'm honestly curious to see where it's gonna go next, because it doesn't really have a set story anymore. It just has ideas and a theme, and it's going forward with that, trying to use those to craft the story. Now, let's talk about the most interesting bits of webcomics, and not the most important parts, the art. Basically speaking, if you're not into the art of webcomic, you're not going to be into the webcomic you're reading. So, yeah, let's talk about the art. And it's good. Having a comic that's drawn by the same person over a course of almost 2 decades, you can honestly tell where the person's art style is evolving and growing over time. The original art style is pretty good, but very manga, anime-esque, while the new art style still retains the stuff of the original, but it's a lot softer tones, a lot more rounded, and some things are simpled out, allowing you guys for quick drawing. The work overall is pretty good if you're reading this in full, and if you're looking for something a little bit more politically charged, and I will look at this. If you don't care for politically charged work, then I say skip it. Aside from that, it's still an interesting read, as well as a quick one, because of its, strip-like quality. On top of that, it updates daily and every Sunday into a full color full page. So if that also piques your interest, then I recommend this one. If you're slightly curious, I recommend, again, at least just starting it out. Start from the beginning, and if you want to avoid the political stuff, as I said earlier, just beat it when the sisterhood shows up. But if you don't mind all that stuff, then enjoy your read, and don't mind the neck pain from the whiplash.